Welcome out, everybody, to another beautiful Thursday right here on Black Power Media. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Let me introduce you to our hosts. We got no other than Dr. Jared Ball and Jackie Lukman. Yeah.
So, given what I think is our vibe, that wasn't the beat we needed.
What was our vibe? What happened?
Well, Ear Doctor came in. We both a little. I think we're a little groggy, a little tired. Both of us running late today. I was wild late. Me and the girls had to make a mad dash. We all overslept, missed alarms. It was crazy this morning in the house. And then. And I'm just exhausted, not properly slept, and then Ear Doctor seemed to feel the same thing, be on the same, And then that beat came in a little.
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Remix Morning Show right here on Black Power Media. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. We got Dr. Jared Ball. We got Jackie Lukman. We got a whole show right here for y'all right now. So let's go.
That's why you're my favorite DJ.
Okay, yeah.
But
Thank
Jackie,
you for
we got to
waking me
get
up.
you to plug in your mic so we
You
can
ain't
hear
lying.
that beautiful, soulful voice properly.
It's plugged in. It was just over on the table.
It was just over there.
I forgot.
We all.
We're all a mess today.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I had to DJ a cook-off last night. It wound up being a cookout, cook-off. It was a bunch of white people. And the winner said only thing he put on his steak was salt and pepper, and he won. I was like, if some black people came through with some lorries, it would have been a wrap for y'all, boy. I tell you.
Black folks would have been, we protest.
How he win?
Boycott.
If there has ever been a true stereotype, when my black and brown friends would come to the house for dinner, it was straight frowns on a regular basis. and all due respect, all love to moms. No question. But if there was ever a workable stereotype, my friends there would always be some little whisper, some little
like what is all this
ain't no
color on this
sauce,
food?
ain't no spice.
What happened to the seasoning?
And I'm over there like, what's the matter, guys? It's delicious.
Nutritious.
Nutritious.
You don't need all that salt. What do you want? Salt diabetes?
He said salt diabetes.
And then it took me my first real black girlfriend, and it was over. And I started looking at moms with side-eye and everything. Like, what you been doing to me my whole life? It's abuse.
She putting the dinner on the table. You looking at it like that's all you gonna do with it?
You
Start pushing it back.
just gonna clean. You just gonna clean the chicken and that's it.
You call this finished?
The only thing.
Said the natural seasoning.
Just to be fair to my mother, just to be fair, working woman, multiple jobs. It was a lot of TV dinners mostly. Cook something on Sunday, eat off of it all week type of thing. So I just a little bit of respect. But even when there was that special meal prepped and everything, it's still, love my, you know what I'm saying? But it was still
Man, hey Jackie, we had it. We was spoiled. My mom, she was a home ec teacher and from Alabama. My food was ridiculous. Hey,
you must have had lines of friends coming through the house trying to get to dinner.
And my uncle was a pastor, so the church dinners and all that. Man, listen. That's why
we had to work with her, man. We had to work with her a little bit, man.
Oh, word. Mom, leave the kitchen. You go with the seasoning, like.
Start
Pull out the seasoning from your secret place.
Right. Wow, look over there.
Word.
It was funny though. It was kind of true like that. The first time it probably wasn't even a girlfriend. I went to like a friend's house for dinner and came back the next day kind of like, that's what mac and cheese is supposed to taste like.
Oh my goodness. And Jackie, you Geechee, right?
No, not really. Close. My
Okay.
folks are they're from the South, and I do
Okay.
have folks in the Carolinas, but my grandmother is from Jarrett, Virginia. Jarrett. We
Jarrett,
never
Virginia?
we do not
Jarrett.
pronounce it properly.
Jarrett.
It's Jarrett, Virginia. Dad's from Emporia, the town right next to it.
Okay.
You know, very southern. They had their own farm for a while. My maternal grandparents had livestock. My mom grew up on a real, you know, a whole farm with
Mm.
chickens and cows and pigs, and they, you know, sent the meat to slaughter and shared with the community and sold what they could, you know, for, you know, to make a little extra money, and ate off that. My granddad had a smokehouse on the
Mm.
property, and you know, so we got that good, seriously homemade vegetable soup, beans, white
Mm.
bean soup, and beans and rice, and you know, literally fresh fried chicken. Grandma would be like, don't name any animal out here.
Okay.
Oh
Do
damn!
not
Don't
name
get attached.
You never snapped a chicken neck?
I did. I have.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah. I mean, we pick our food from the garden.
Get your face.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not.
What
Look,
you do like this, you wrap it like that, and
you do. You have to chase it, and you snatch it, and you got to do it real quick.
welcome to the South, Jared.
If you drop it, and it kind of, you know, flops around, because yeah, I'm sorry for the vegans. I'm sorry
Hey.
for the vegans and the vegetarians, but look, when you grow up in the country and you understand the importance of sustainable farming and locally sourced food, including meat,
Mm.
it does take on a different character. And I, you know, but yeah, done all that, done it. Seen a pig be slaughtered from, you know, not inside an industrial slaughterhouse, seen a, you know, a cow be slaughtered and all that. Yeah.
You done ate everything from
Yes,
the
I
rooter
know
to the
what hot
tutor.
dogs are made of and bologna is made of, and I still eat it. Yes. And scrapple.
Oh,
Yes.
And
Yes.
what?
Scrapple.
What the fuck is that?
you don't know what? Nah, even I know what scrapple is. Jesus
You-
Christ!
Maybe Kim knows what Scrapple is. You know what Scrapple is,
Northern
Kim?
Negroes are just
Scrapple is hot dog by a different name, right? It's all
basically.
It's an
Is it a
unplugged
micro-
mic.
is it a
That's what
microphone?
it is. Scrapple is an unplugged microphone.
Both of y'all, what is going on this morning?
It's the end of the remix week. That's what.
There's something in the atmosphere, man.
It's the eclipse from last Saturday.
Yeah,
Somebody-
Scrapple is the same stuff that hot dogs, liverwurst, and bologna are made of. It's literally all the meat that is left over, that is not pork chops or pork loin, or it's all the leftover stuff, and you put
Ugh.
it together, and you can actually, if you're smart, you will get it ground. It's basically just ground pork.
I tell you who
That's-
grew up.
Look at Hiram demonstrating the real meaning of irony. Look at Hiram.
That's right. I tell you who grew up on pizzas and corner store food. Older than Kamal K. Franklin.
And we can tell. And can we not tell?
And has the intellect to show for it, the demeanor to
Aw.
show for it. He got
Everybody
that-
want to take
that-
Go ahead, Kim. It's your turn. It's your turn. Everyone
That
take a
Brooklyn pizza demeanor.
No shots. Especially if my mic's not on, I can't take no shots.
Oh, you
There
good
it is.
now.
Oh,
it's
you
good.
good
You're
now.
on.
Shoot away. Steph Curry it up.
No, Jared, when you were recounting, you know, your cross cultural cocina tales, right? Like, all I thought it was that scene from that Colin Kaepernick Netflix special when Colin went over to get his hair braided and he was eating the food and his mother was like, "Don't you want to come home and eat dinner?" He was like, "Nope."
Nope.
I've done had the good food
Like,
outside.
never again, mother.
Like, this is
Whatever
what I've been missing.
Yeah, whatever
Salt.
criticism I had of that series, that was not one of them. They got that part pretty close. That felt pretty real. It was a shock.
No, mother, you have betrayed me all these years.
Kim, your mom could cook.
her ass off. Okay,
She looked like it. She looked like it.
Cook her ass off because my people, my mom's people, Jackie, are from Virginia, from Central Virginia, Charles City, Virginia, a very rural area. I grew up with my grandma having chickens on the farm, and yes, she'd go out and get them chickens, go out and get them fresh eggs from the chicken pen, the hen pen. Yeah. So no, my people are country. So yes, they cook. They cook. And seen them, my uncles, what do they call it? They call it dressing the deer. When they would go deer hunting, they would bring the deer and they would dress the deer in the
I'm waiting for
bathroom.
some deer meat right now. My uncle better come.
What's that called? Venice?
Venison.
Venison.
Oh, that's a place. My bad.
That's a place.
The venison. And
Well,
that was,
it
I
is-
mean, that was
it
a little
is-
traumatic to see the deer when I was a kid. I'm like, y'all have shot Bambi's mama.
And then later on,
We ate Bambi's mama.
later on, over a steaming bowl of venison stew.
Delicious.
Come out. Y'all know your mom could cook.
Hell yeah, Charleston, South Carolina.
All
My mom-
these
my mom-
Carolinas. That's why I thought Jackie was Geechee. I knew it was from the Carolinas area.
What
No,
was
that-
your mom's
no, my-
dishes, Kamal? What did your
macaroni
mom?
and cheese.
Woo!
Like our specialty. She was great at frying chicken. She was great. My mom was just a really good cook. She was a great cook. She was a great cook.
None of that Velveeta shit.
Oh yeah, no, plenty of that
No.
Velveeta shit. No, we're from the projects in Brooklyn. Whatever you can get your hands on.
Block cheese. And
Yeah, we had all that. All that.
Man, look,
All
that
that welfare
government
cheese,
cheese, that welfare
Yeah.
cheese.
Orange juice in the
the
can too. That was big. in
Yeah.
my house.
Ooh,
It hit different.
man.
She stopped the bathroom was a.
Granny had to use that weird can opener that made the triangle in the top of the can. to
Oh,
open
yeah.
up
Oh
the
yeah,
can juice.
Yeah. Oh my God.
the bottle opener. Yeah,
Yeah.
That is what
Yep.
we do. Yeah. And
That
then you
was
just
one
do
of
a
my
circle
first
until
injuries.
it's like
too.
open enough.
Yep.
And then you try not to cut your finger.
Yep.
Try to open it. Yeah.
I was like, oh, look at me bleeding in the sink again.
Did you get the can open though?
Man, I was bad. I'm bad to this day with stuff. I got scars. I'm all cut up. People think I've been through something. No, I'm just life.
you just been opening
Just
containers.
life.
Hands.
Just
Been opening cans.
Yeah, just that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, all the millennials out there, I hope you all learning some history today, learning about,
Wow.
life
History.
in the 80s and what's that? The 80s, right? That's mainly the 80s.
Stay in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
80s was a good time.
Mid to late
Was it
70s.
though?
I got some 70s in me. I mean, I was
Yeah.
born in
Oh,
67.
70s
so-
memories.
Yeah, I graduated high school in '85, so we're talking about like the '70s when I was a kid at grandma's.
Tell us about the 70s, guys.
Tell us. But for those of us who don't remember.
I was a kid. I didn't remember too much of other than
Oh,
just
yeah.
being a kid and
We
kind
were
of growing up in
outside way
between.
more.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
like
remember for
difference.
some reason though, we had a TV in every room. This was
Damn.
ghetto.
I was balling.
We had a
So y'all
TV.
was
Yeah,
lit.
you
Nah,
balling in the
it don't gotta
project.
be.
Shit.
That's
Projects
what you
my
got-
ass.
whatever
Oh,
money
they
you
had
got, that's what you spend it on.
projects had 2 rooms. Let's
Yeah.
be clear.
Both
It did sound a
both
little
rooms
exotic.
had
I
a
was like,
TV.
Like what?
You know what?
Back in one room, we had
Yeah,
a
go ahead, my
TV
bad.
on top of a TV because the old TV broke and the new TV was on top of the
it
TV.
was too big to take out.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
You just put that old black and white on top of that new color
Exactly.
TV.
And
The
give
kitchen was
got-
black and white. Little kitchen TV was everything else was color, son. I'm like,
Oh, we never had. Oh, we were not allowed.
Wow.
Only in my mother's bedroom, and then I eventually got a small black and white one in my room. And shout out to the tinfoil on the rabbit ears
Woo-wee.
and the pliers to turn the channels.
oh my god!
Whoa.
And
Yes,
the
when the
bent
knob
wire
would break.
hanger.
When the knob would break.
When
In
the
fact, we
knob
didn't
would
even
break.
have. We didn't use. We found the ironing curl, like the women the iron the thing.
And
Curling
you
iron.
clip,
Put
clamp.
iron, put some
rubber
bands
band?
around that, and
How is it that all of us have these shared experiences? That we all grew up different places by and large.
Oh, and don't let me talk
Be
about
black.
the contraption I made that allowed me to work the using a old wire hanger and it allowed me to work a version of pliers I had contracted. So I had my first remote control. So I could reach from across
Damn.
a little bit of the room and be like, clack, because it was like it's too much to change from one of the 3 available channels to another one. It was just too much to keep going back and forth from the other side of my what was then seemed like a big room, but was a little room. And you so I was like, I
All right.
can't
Look at that
keep-
Negro ingenuity. Look at that.
Look at
Black-
that.
That's black excellence, Jared.
First time I seen porn was on.
That's how you do black
Wait a
excellence.
minute. Wait. Just
the
continue,
first time you saw
Kamal.
porn was what?
First time I saw porn.
Come out.
So there used to be before HBO, before cable, they had this thing called in
Skinemax.
New York called WHT. I think it was like WWHT, something like that.
Wow.
And so you needed a box to get it, right? So we ain't had all that. But when you return, like one of the channels it was on, I don't like it was all like it's all staticky, so you can't see it. But every now and then it would pop in for like half a second, and then it was just like titties, and it was like what the hell? So it was like what the hell? And apparently they had late night, they had whatever. And so so I spent hours as a
Yes,
kid trying to make it, trying to
Wow.
Trying to get the whole picture.
thinking that I could do something, to make it stay steady.
Soon as he got a little picture, he ran for the lotion, and it went off again.
All we had were waiting for that scene in whatever our movie we got to glimpse at. Like it would be like people would be creating video versions of pause tapes on VHS to string together the shot of breast that you would see in this movie or that movie. That was how it started for me. It was like, ooh, a nipple. Wait, rewind that.
What the hell just happened here?
Now
Oh,
these
the,
folks got
Oh,
porn in
man.
the palm of their hand. That's why they
Right.
don't come outside, man. That's why they be in the house all the
Full
time.
penetration. Full penetration. Right in their pocket. You'd have never seen me. They'd have been like, where's Jared? Skipping
Where's
everything.
Jared?
They should have never gave that nigga a phone.
Jared been in the bathroom about 7 hours. Somebody go check on Jared.
Ain't no hot water. Yeah, it's terrible.
the good old days back when women had pubic hairs. All right, let's go ahead and get to our first break. Don't they don't know more, boy, I tell you.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I mean,
break right now.
Right here on the Remix Morning Show. Oh, damn, what I like?
oh, Jesus.
Oh, get to the songs. Play the song, damn it. Yeah, come to the party right here on the Remix Morning Show. Yes, welcome out. Y'all hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and go to patreon.com and become a member over there. We got some content that you might not have seen yet, so go check it out. All right, with that said, we're going to go ahead and catch y'all up on some different shows that came up on Black Power Media. If y'all haven't checked it out, let's first go to Real Talk with Dr. Sudiata. See what he's talking about with Ujamaa. Jamu. Boy, I be messing names up.
While my family was a good race family, with good race politics, if you will, in terms of, Garveyism and the Nation of Islam and pride in ourselves and uplift and serving the community, as a young brother and some, many times young sister, you get caught up in other kind of stuff, and so, as a teenager growing up on the south side of Chicago, because where I stayed at, not only was I on the south side of Chicago, we ended up in some of the roughest communities on the south side.
All right, go find out about those different communities on the south side of Chicago and see why Dr. Sudiata seems so thirsty. All right, now let's go to another preview of Warrior Class, and let's see what they talking about over here. They talked about different fighting styles and different fighters they fought. Let's see what type of fighting they talking about.
We fighting. I hit him, boom, knocked him back. He's embarrassed, so he comes. He said, "Foy, foy." He says, "Foy, foy," and does I don't know what that even come from, and he does some kick
Came from his heart.
to my groin. Right. Now, the way we stand, and we'll deal with that one day, you're not going to kick us in the groin.
Yeah.
You're going to hit your damn shin on our knee. You're going to hurt yourself, and it's wicked off. Trust me.
Hey, I would trust him on that one, especially if a guy that got kicked in the groin before. I'll listen to him. Believe that. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew and the show. Yeah, go check out those shows. We got a lot of other ones too. Go check them out. All right, right here on Black Power Media on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go, y'all. Yeah.
Hey, Ear Doctor, I'm glad you did that clip right there, because real quick, it reminded me of something. If I could say just very quickly, I need to clarify something. I heard from Belay yesterday.
Oh.
And shout out to Belay and the Warrior Class crew. So apparently, when we were talking last week about this whole me and Kamal having a slightly different approach, I don't know, something about our approach to preparedness and training. Apparently, at some point, I conveyed I conveyed some level of critique and even slight disrespect of Brother Balagoon. It was not, so all I can say is it was unintentional. It was not conscious. There's no meaningful critique from me for the brother or anybody in Warrior Class, and I just wanted to be clear on that. And I want to shout out Belay for doing what I think we need to be doing. And if there is ever some question, confusion, criticism, direct communication, principled, polite, respectful, no issue, clarity emerges, and I have no problem coming on here just to take 2 quick seconds to say, just whatever I conveyed was unintentional. I was probably thinking of something else, but it looked a certain way, and apologies all around. All due respect to the Baba and the whole Warrior Class crew, and shout out to Belay for the way he dealt with that. So I appreciate that. So that's it. So thank you for the reminder, Ear Doctor, even though I know you didn't know that that's what you were doing.
I sure didn't.
I think you just didn't want to get beat up out here,
Yeah,
Jared.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
He was. I was like,
That's
damn.
it. You damn right. You damn right.
Come on here and cop a plea because he knew what time it was.
Yo, they in a whole nother state, and Jared's like, yo.
That too.
Zero shame. Zero shame. You goddamn right. That's how I made it to 52. I don't be fighting just anybody. I don't be picking fights with just anybody. Choose wisely especially the older you get. Choose wisely. Belay called. I said, ain't no drama.
Word.
It be Brother Balagoon and Belay rolling up in the tree line streets, knocking on the door like, Jared, come on outside. We ain't gonna jump you.
He said Baba didn't even know he was calling. It didn't even got to that level yet. He was like, you don't. It wasn't anything like it was so principled that it made it. But because, see, what I forgot to tell Belay, and just to remind folks, I know people who have seen Belay work for real. So they've seen him in full combat sparring. So full contact combat sparring. So there's no question in if anybody thinks when they tune into Warrior Class that these cats don't know what they're doing, let it be confirmed. And yes, you damn right. I didn't want none of that smoke. I don't want nobody up here looking for me. I don't, that's why I said I used to sell wolf tickets. That's back in the day. I don't do that shit anymore. You must be crazy. It's quickly. My bad. Apologies. That's it. So, but all seriousness, just want to clarify. It was never. I didn't even know what I was doing. So
all right.
you know.
So I got 2 quick things too.
Boy.
So why do Sundiata and Ajamu look almost like twins?
I wasn't gonna say anything about that.
You know what I'm saying? And then I forgot to bring this up from last week. Why is the only word that Yoruba can't pronounce is Ajamu?
He can't do it. I know.
He just cannot get Ajamu out, no matter how hard he tries.
He says Ajamu.
That is
Ajamu.
actually wait. That is actually how his name is supposed to be.
See?
Is that the right?
See?
It is
That
supposed
is
to be
actually
Ajamu.
the correct pronunciation.
I've been
of
saying it
name.
right the whole time.
We just ghetto as hell if we don't know how to pronounce.
Look at that. Well, look at that. Look at that. I've been saying it the right.
incorrect, doctor, because when you introduced the clip, you did not say Ajamu or Ajamu. I don't even know what you said. You said neither of those things.
Oh, he just left.
Don't get mad.
I thought okay. We're gonna have to check that. We're gonna have to check that.
It's true. It's true that there are
I've
very
never
few
heard that
people-
pronunciation before.
I've
It's
never
so
once
jarring
in
every
my
time
life.
Yoruba does it. It's just like, why can't he get out Ajamu?
No, because
Or maybe it's on purpose.
But it's
that
on
is
purpose.
the ghettoization of an
Mm.
African name. Ajamu is actually how it's supposed to be pronounced. And us lazy-tongued American Negroes
Made it Ajamu. He should
Literally
be
the first time I've ever in my life heard it pronounced that way and be said to be. I don't ever remember ever. So that stand corrected twice, and it's not even 8:30 yet. God damn.
Yep. There are only 3 people who I have heard pronounce his name correctly: Yane Indigo, Anthony Rogers Wright, and Aruba. And I didn't realize that I was pronounced.
Where's the name from? Because those aren't experts. Those all sound like they all sound like Negroes from the South to me. So I don't know if I'm not trusting this now. Where's the name? You know the origin? Anybody know the origin of the name? Is it?
Somebody in the chat knows. The chat.
Well, I know it's African, but
I mean, I was trying to I was trying to narrow it down from
Emma says it's a Yoruba name.
I don't know. You go. I'm not
And
gonna
there
get beat
is-
up with you.
Yoruba?
That's Yoruba, not Yoruba.
Who said Yoruba?
Excuse me.
Oh my!
Oh Lord!
So I'm just in error all morning, getting corrected by the ear doctor. I'm about to leave.
Right.
I'm about to leave. I think I just need to quit. I should just quit.
Log
Yeah,
off.
it's time to log off and quit.
Restart the computer. Try again.
Yep.
These
You're right.
people will be like, they cannot even pronounce the names. Why we don't want them?
Why even take on the names to begin with?
We're sorry.
That's why when they gave me
Decolonized
last,
Dr. Ball. That's right. That's right. And Emma is never wrong. And Emma is never missing a chance to take a shot at your boy. So enjoy your morning, Emma. This one's for you. This one's for you, Emma.
The boss has spoken, everybody. Welcome to the Remix morning show.
I hate when they overproduce this.
It happens, Kamal. With somebody, we need some direction here, and the Ear Doctor is willing to guide us through our journey of the Remix Morning Show, Thursday edition, Black Power Media Remixers. Thank you all so much for being here. We got Jacqueline Lukman, Reverend Dr. Jared Ball, Kamal Franklin, Kim Brown, Ear Doctor the Turkey in the background, just bullying us on forward progression, which I understand, Ear Doctor. I understand, but it's YouTube, my nigga. So relax. So anyway, y'all come in here, press the thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe. The channel is growing. Thank you all so much, Black Power Media people, for coming out and representing for the channel and sharing the content and being here and participating in the discussions and the chats and the comments. We certainly love and appreciate it. Where shall we begin, everybody?
Mm-hmm. I sent because I'm afraid to click off the screen because we know what's going to happen. I sent a video of a speaker at the protest in front of the Zionist embassy here in DC last night. In the to your what's the thing called? To your text. Yeah, I forgot the name of the thing.
Not the Zionist embassy.
So somebody can grab that.
The name. I like
embassy.
I just yeah, it's a mess. So
that is the new name, the Zionist Embassy. I like it.
But wait a minute, I worship at Mount Zion Baptist Calvary Church. Zion can't be bad, right?
They're not the same thing.
You get the connotation.
I'm kidding. No, I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
As I'm trying to grab this for you, unless somebody else is beating me to it,
you sent a text?
Yeah, you sent it.
I did,
and I can't, and I don't get those directly to the computer, so I got to try to figure out how to get this
Where
over
where they do
ChatGPT.
that at?
Jackie,
I
you got to
got
send
it.
it to
I got
Kamau
it.
in an email. Kamau's
got it.
good about
I'm
snatching
making
in
it work.
Jared too.
I'm making it work. It's on its way. But to that point, one of the few times I went to a synagogue as a child, one of the only memories I have is two Jewish women singing an acoustic version of Bob Marley's Zion Train.
Wow.
And I remember even then as a kid thinking, I don't think this is the same. I don't think context was the word I used in my head, but I was like, this is not the Zion. I just felt like I don't think this is what Bob meant. Oh, it got canceled. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can we email that? My bad. This isn't working for me. This isn't working for me.
I mean, but to your point, I can see where a lot of confusion could come in, and it's gonna come in for a lot of people when they hear Zionists and they hear, American Jewish leaders talking about don't be anti-Zionist, and people be like, "Well, I worship at Zion Baptist Church.
Well,
I'm gonna ride with the Zions."
Of course, the confusion starts, humbly speaking, from the original sin of confusion of these stories. So Bob Marley with the Rastafarian version of the Hebrew story is thinking Zion is, of course, a place to go, as we saw also in the Matrix, et cetera, and so forth. But when it's turned into a literal place in this world and Israelized, it becomes a whole other new problem. Anyway, go ahead, Jackie. Sorry.
Oh, I put this up until I got the clip ready.
Oh,
just I mean, just as a forerunner to what Jackie's going to do. As folks may have known, Biden took a trip yesterday to Israel, to Zionist territory. Says he concluded trick, and then he's bigging up that he got Egypt to allow 20 truckloads of aid into Gaza, which hasn't happened yet. We're talking about 20 truckloads for a population of 2 million who've had their water shut off or food denied, access to medicines denied. And here you have Jim Crow Joe and Zionist Netanyahu hugging it out over the dead bodies of Palestinians is the only way I can say it.
Absolutely.
So just as a pre-runner, there's been protests all around the world supporting Palestinians. Particularly what's been happening recently is that in so-called Middle Eastern countries, many demonstrations in front of the U.S. consulate, the British consulate, the French consulate, the Zionist embassy / consulates. So all that's been taking place particularly post the bombing, the missile strike of the hospital by Israeli forces that killed at least 500 people.
Right. So they couldn't possibly have bombed the hospital. That wasn't them, but they definitely bombed other targets the next day. Oh, okay. Anyway, so this is outside of the the Zionist embassy last night. And for folks who don't know, this is my pastor. This is Reverend Graylin Hagler. Senior minister emeritus. He is no longer actively the senior minister, but he is still, as you will hear, very much doing exactly what he was doing that caused me and Abdus to join Plymouth in the first place. So I don't know how long this is, but
a minute 46.
Yeah, go ahead.
We need to remember all the folks who have selective outrage. That means that all of a sudden they're outraged and upset. When were they outraged? About a Palestinian kid being killed. When were they outraged? About a family, a Palestinian family, being uprooted from their homes. When have they ever been outraged? And what I'm talking about situationally. If killing is wrong, then it's wrong when black folks are killed. When Palestinians are killed. It's wrong. We got to stand up and challenge all of these folks who all of a sudden are outraged. And I gotta ask them, where were you yesterday and last week? Have you been for 75 years?
So this is the question that we have been asking in our church, and the jacket he has on is from the organization Fellowship of Reconciliation, which is, I don't know how to describe it, an anti-imperialist faith organization. That's basically what it is. I'm involved in it because he dragged me into it, because he just, wherever he goes, that's where he when we joined Plymouth and he saw what our politics were, he told me and Abdish, y'all can do whatever y'all want. And we proceeded to get active in the Board of Social Action in the church. We had all these teach-ins. We helped facilitate all of these presentations. We had people like Miko Peled. He introduced us to Miko Peled, who is the son of an Israeli general. For people who don't know who Miko Peled is, he is the son of an Israeli general who was one of the quote unquote founders of the state of Israel. He was there during the original occupation, war and occupation of Israel, who grew up believing the Zionist lie. And through the course of time, as he's seeing the oppression of the Palestinian people, he realized that Zionism is a lie. And he became an advocate and an activist against Zionism for Palestinians. We've had lots of different Palestinian speakers in our church, as well as programs addressing intracommunal violence, racist police terrorism, all of those things. So when I was saying yesterday that I'm pissed off about all of the so-called Christians who have had access to this information because we provided it, and have chosen to ignore it, he's angrier than me. You understand? That man is angrier than I am. And the only reason he's not cussing as much as I am is because he's a man of the cloth, I suppose. And because, he has medical condition that keeps him from screaming, which is what he would have been doing. He shouldn't even be speaking publicly because of the medical condition, but he is not one to be silent in the face of oppression. Mm-hmm. So that is the faith tradition that I come from. I don't know what anybody else believes in their faith tradition, but if you can't do that, even without the curse words, then you are as much an enemy to liberation and progress as the people who are actually oppressing people. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Without the cuss words this time. I reached my weekly quota of cuss words yesterday.
Were you out there yesterday, Jackie? I mean, there was a lot of actions in DC happening yesterday. I'm sure a lot of people maybe saw some of the footage from the House building in which hundreds of protesters took over. Was it the Cannon House building?
No, it was the Capitol.
No, it was the Cannon House building.
Was it the Cannon? They were in the rotunda. Yeah. No. So I haven't been able to be out in any of the actions this week because I have to get all of my paperwork, insurance, and all this kind of stuff straight since I am technically, well, I'm not I have to stop saying that, since I am disabled. And I really need to get all of the insurance and everything straight, and all of the benefits that I do qualify for, that before the surgery happened. So I really needed to focus on that this week. But next week. Yeah.
So I went out Tuesday night, actually for what for me is increasingly rare, but and put some of the footage on our channel where you get to see Sean Blackman, the voice. I showed up just as he had taken up the mic and delivered a powerful statement, and then almost immeasurably, not to compare them, but more powerful were these Palestinian women who reported back what they had been hearing, and it's horrific. So folks if you haven't, you're invited to the channel to see that, just to see some of it, and we'll see. We'll stay tuned and try to bring more to the platform.
So I can't vouch for the reporting, of course. This is Fox 5, but hundreds arrested after pro-Palestinian demonstrators flood Cannon Rotunda, Capitol Complex. And we can play a little bit of the video. And if I'm not mistaken, these are just Jewish Voices for Peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's mostly, if not all, like Jewish protesters who are taking arrest in protest of the bombing of Gaza and of Israel proper being a colonial nation.
Pro-Palestinian protesters making their way inside of the Cannon House office building.
And let's take you there live right now as the demonstrations continue. And you can see the crowd there has certainly thinned out, and that's because Capitol Police have been making arrests for the past few hours inside that congressional office building. Fox 5's Tom Fitzgerald has been live outside as the protests gathered earlier this afternoon. Fitz, how's it looking now?
Well, good evening. This started at about noon today down on the National Mall. This group, calling itself the Jewish Voice for Peace, was out here today calling on Israel to enter a ceasefire after it's been defending itself following the Hamas attacks of a week and a half ago. But this protest began to leave the National Mall and made it. Let me show you the scene right now. This is Independence Avenue and South Capitol Street. U.S. Capitol Police are out here in force. Now, the protesters themselves said they had about 400 of their members that were able to actually enter the Cannon House office building today, and arrests are underway right now. We are told we began arresting them, unquote. The Capitol Police also say that the arrests in Cannon, spoke to you earlier down.
That's probably enough. I was just skipping around.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Say something beforehand.
My bad.
Thank you.
It's wild how he's like a group that calls itself the Jewish Voices, as if these people haven't been around for literal decades.
Mm-hmm.
Jewish Voices for Peace have been around for decades.
Well, it's because they're used to ignoring them, right? Like you want to talk about people getting ignored out here. The anti-Zionist Jewish voices are being ignored. I'm surprised Fox 5 covered that at all. Like, and that they, you know, I'm not surprised that they framed it the way that they did, but no, like, I mean, the Jewish folks that are out here against what Israel is doing, they out here, you know what I'm saying? And I don't hear from them, I don't think, enough in mainstream outlets.
And like you said, purposefully, right? Purposely ignoring that. And again, like most of the marches, as we've seen in the past, most of the pro-Palestinian marches, which have been huge, literally like tens of thousands of people, both here in the United States and internationally, have received basically zero coverage, again, from the paper of record, the New York Times, and other major outlets. If anything, they try to pose as both sides are protesting and so forth, but it's obvious that all the protests that have taken place that have been pro-Palestinian protests have been literally tens of thousands of people doing so in some countries where there's even bans now on Palestinian protests.
Yes.
So in spite of that, people have still come out and protested to support Palestinians' right to self-determination, and their right to not die in basically Gaza as a concentration camp.
Didn't Macron outlaw pro-Palestinian protests in France? And I think even placed a Palestinian protester under house arrest. I'm sorry.
I mean, in France, it's illegal to wear a full hijab
Hijab?
outfit. Yeah,
Mhm.
you can't do that.
Mhm.
They literally they have their own so-called morality police that will stop you if you wear it.
Yep. And in Germany, they haven't outlawed pro-Palestinian protests, but they have made it illegal to carry the Palestinian flag, which is exactly the same thing they've done in Zionist.
Mayweather actually found his way to a picket line.
Who?
Who told?
But did you
But
all
he
see
did.
Mayweather and NBA players marching in support of Israel in LA?
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Oh god.
And didn't LeBron James issue an ignorant ass statement?
He did issue an ignorant ass
I
statement.
said I wasn't gonna cuss today. Okay.
It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible.
Tell another lie, Jackie. Tell us another lie out
It's in
here
the
today.
No, we have to find out.
Whoa.
I mean, for Mayweather to make it to a picket line, and probably the first time in his life, I would assume.
Right.
Yeah. That's like I've
Sorry.
never heard him stand up for any particular issue except for his money, except for making more money. That's the only thing I've ever heard him ever say, politically speaking. So
Maybe we should do a black celebrity pro-Zionist rundown roll call. Like,
We
well,
do.
we know
that's a good
all these
idea.
niggas are suckers, right? We know they're all
I
suckers, but
like
I
it.
think we should know for certain.
Roll call. That's a good idea.
Let's put them on the roll call.
Let's
to look at
let's
the
start
Zionist roll
compiling the
call.
list.
Mm.
I did just in sort of in that vein. I do want to petty it up a little bit. I gotta, as we've all seen, Mark Lamont Hill on this issue for a long time has been right on point, and I think in that recent exchange, I think we've all seen with the Israeli ambassador or something like that. I mean, he really, it proved or showed that Israel is happy to engage in this collective violence or collective punishment, rather, illegal thing. But he did say today, that again, I just feel defensive around this, so I admit that. But he tweeted earlier that so many university academics who insist upon doing performative virtue signaling land acknowledgments at every public event are eerily silent as real liberation struggles are happening. And I just wanted to respond and say that, Mark has been amazing on this issue, but I do want to remind that so many are promoted to deny the existence of those of us who are not unclear in our open solidarity with Palestine and are punished for it. So I just want to be mindful that not all of us are ivory tower scholars, and the ones you see promoted to take the position in pro-Israel are there to negate the existence of many of the rest of us who are literally being punished on a daily basis in the universities for in a variety of ways, nothing akin obviously to what's happening to Palestinians themselves, or maybe even others in defense of Palestine around the world. But just a reminder that many of us are out here. We just don't get put on mics. We don't get platformed, and in fact, we get saddled with abusive schedules, defunding, firing, lack of rehire, contract renewals. All kinds of stuff is happening to quietly quell academics who would use their voice in defense.
I think the other
even
thing
overturned as well. So
but I think the other thing he's pointing out is that it's now become this running thing that when people are having meetings, and this is not strictly academics, where they start to do land acknowledgments and talk about, that they've started. I guess it became big in Australia, and now it's becoming big here in like lefty meetings or organizing meetings, where people will, if they're here in Atlanta, they'll say we're here on Muskogee territory, so forth and so on. So I think that's become, because I think his real issue here is not so much people who are being silenced, but people who do something like that in terms of like, hey, well, let's acknowledge the indigenous people here, but then those same people in mass are not coming out and saying something about the indigenous Palestinians being wiped out on their own land. So I think that's to me, that was the connection that I was hearing.
No, he's right. My point is, he's right to condemn. Everybody's right to condemn everyone who comes out publicly with these whack analyses and stances. I just, again, admitting I'm defensive around, in particular, just this week alone, I'm watching what's happening to not only me, but to other colleagues. And it's again, I'm not trying to create a false equivalence here, but I just wanted to put a shout out to those who are being punished for taking the appropriate position. And then they aren't allowed to be there to stand in opposition to those who are taking the positions that Mark is talking about. And when we just throw it out there like it's this, it just becomes this repeating trope of academics are always against the people. And we don't remember that many of the academics who would be with the people can't be, or have to do so quietly, or who or their solidarity is not acknowledged other than to punish them. So that's all I'm trying to. He's exactly right. That's it.
Yeah. And did he do, was that interview he did on the Breakfast Club?
He did. It was with Charlemagne and DJ Envy, who apparently has not yet been arrested for his alleged
Soon
fraudulence.
come. Soon come.
So while he
What? Go back.
oh, you all haven't been following
Oh,
Envy and Caesar Pena.
All y'all was on here when Tuesday when Jared brought up the show. Jared,
I
but you
wasn't
buried
on.
the lead though of the.
He buried the lead.
Oh, I
What's
buried
the
the
lead?
lead. What I buried? Go ahead.
$40 million is the
that's
number
what-
that
oh.
these niggas have been scamming.
Oh,
$40 million.
Somebody go back. So fill me in on the basics.
$40 million. Jared, pull up the junk that you had the other day.
Well, let me do this real quick because Ricky sent me something. So if we can, just before we lose sight,
Table it for
let
a
me
second.
just we'll come back to this in a second.
Okay.
And I'll pull up some
Okay.
stuff. But shout out to Ricky. I appreciate when we get the production support. Let me pull this up so we can show the people.
Thank you for everything you did for us. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. We really appreciate it.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Tell us
So-
always. What the oh my God.
So that's oh wait, how do I stop that? Okay, that's me. How do I stop that? Okay, there we go. So yeah, thank you, Ricky.
Can you give some audio descriptions of what was just played?
I'm sorry. So it was Floyd Mayweather at a pro-Israel march being thanked for his support of Israel by someone who was filming him walking in solidarity. And I will say, from my own 2 cents, he looks as confused and there as he is almost anywhere he's not in a ring. So
and they didn't
I'm not.
know who the hell he was either.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was just some black dude.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The what is it? The Chiron was added later to say this is Floyd Mayweather, but there was no acknowledgement on tape. Although, so it could have been he's or just some random black celebrity maybe, or somebody we maybe would know if we cared about Negroes at all. But since he's here, we're gonna thank him. But he did kind of have that like, hey, where am I at? What's going on? Who are all these people around me?
Despite his arrogance, I used to root for Mayweather because they would always say he was such a defensive boxer, and they try to put these other folks. It's always sad when you place some that fake feeling of like you're on the same team as somebody, or you're wishing or hoping for somebody, then they come out and do something. You're just like, what a waste. I've actually got like showed up to like party like when he fought Pacquiao, so it was just like, yeah, it's like one of those things of like, why I don't even believe he knows the issue, to be honest.
Oh no,
I don't believe he knows much. Yeah, but he's got mainstream media, and then boom, his I don't want to even deal in stereotypes, but his manager or somebody else close, his financial assistant.
I think he's clear that there's money in this. I think he's clear that there's benefit to his career and his business. Maybe his business less than his career at this point, but his business endeavors. I think that's a way that they prime them, and then to your point, his managers, his handlers, they all start telling all of these people, you need to get out here. And you need to be seen. You need to say something. You can't be ambiguous in your support for Israel. And yeah, they don't, so like there can't be you can't be seen to be fence sitting where it could be confused as support for Palestinians.
Here in Atlanta, and I'm sure this might be true of everybody else's city council, they had a unanimous resolution in support of Israel yesterday. Even the Arab, the one Arab so-called most progressive city council person voted for the resolution, which was basically a support of Israel. So it's passed in 16-0. Even the folks who voted against Cop City, because they lack all like this, they lack any real analysis. And like you said, somebody put something in front of them, or they get their media from somebody, and they're the people in their party, whatever it is. It's like they're trained. They're just like trained to be like, oh, I'm not going to do any research. I'm not going to try to understand the issue. So I'm supposed to be against this. I'm going to come out and be against this.
Or the research is that one-page summary they get on their desk from their staff. Here are your talking points. Here's the summary. Here's the one-line pro-Israel summary of the issue. Here are your bullet points. And then when you get a microphone in front of you, you just refer to them. Hamas terrorists, Israel, the keyword, Hamas terrorists, Israel response, and so on. And then it's just plug and play. And then just walk in a crowd and you looking as confused as hell, just looking around, just be seen there and have somebody saying, hey, thank you for your everything you've done for us, she said, right? Something like that.
Thank you for everything you've done for us. What
has he done?
Has he done? What has he done?
It's remarkable.
Oh boy.
I just quickly, I did pull this up so we could, because again, the first thing I thought of when I saw Mark Lamont Hill on the Breakfast Club is that again, these are the hosts of the show. So house flipper tied to DJ Envy charged with Ponzi-like real estate fraud schemes by feds. Federal prosecutors say Cesar Pena partnered with celebrity disc jockey to promote himself as a real estate guru. A celebrity house flipper with close ties. I just read that part. The charges come after months of social media accusations and civil litigation against Pena, who victims say stole their money with promises of big profits. DJ Envy, real name Rashawn Casey, has been caught up in the scheme because critics say he helped promote Pena, including through appearances on his nationally syndicated hip-hop show, The Breakfast Club. Accusations he denies.
Thank
Wait a minute, he's not part of the scheme? Just
Right.
saying he's caught up?
What?
I've actually seen DJ in Pittsburgh. This is like several years ago when he was looking, I guess he was being driven around to buy up houses. Pittsburgh being the Southwest Atlanta, the neighborhood in Southwest Atlanta we do our work in. He was being driven around looking at houses to buy up as part of their flipping scheme or part of the flipping of houses that they do. So,
and then to Kim's point, one victim's attorney estimated that more than 30 investors have come forward seeking over $40 million from Pena and his wife Jennifer.
40 million.
Yeah, 40 million.
No.
And again, it's with promises of flipping houses in neighborhoods almost that I would just define as pre-gentrified, and so they're not gonna the promise of resale and investment value, et cetera, and so forth is I'm sure tied up in this case. But
yeah, it's tied up in saying, yeah, we're going to flip these we're going to buy up these ghetto houses in these Negro neighborhoods, and we're going to put in a couple of extra more expensive countertops, some backsplash, and we're going to sell them for double the price, and folks are going to buy them, right? Because folks want the dream of living in Atlanta now, and your revenue, your share of those profits will be such and such on your investment. And they don't give it, and then they preach to themselves on their shows about how great they're doing for the Black community, or how you too can do this, and if we all only did this, how we all could be rich
and hosting events.
But the difference is what Envy and his partner are accused of doing is selling the same property multiple times. So I think one couple that I'm not sure if it was in that article, but another piece that I read said that they took out $200,000 worth of equity from their Florida home to invest in this Patterson, New Jersey home. But come to find out, they was like the second and third and fourth people investing in the same house. I'm sorry. So that's where the scam. I mean, it's all a scam, right? But you want to double down and triple down on the scam. You keep selling people the same fucking house over and over again.
Oh my God.
So everybody thinks they're going to get paid back on the same house after they put the investment in. And so then it's just like a pyramid, like they get a little, they pay this one. And
I was about to say, is this a real estate pyramid scheme?
Oh, man.
Is that what this
Well,
is?
the one couple that I'm describing says that they are paying interest back on a loan, I suppose, or on the equity of the house of which they took the equity out of. They said they're paying interest back and they have no expectation of getting any of their $200,000 back.
wow.
But they're making payments right now on a house that they don't have.
Has it? I mean, I know you're not avid watchers, but do we know if it hasn't come up on the Breakfast Club? No one has mentioned it or talked about it.
Didn't
Charlemagne
Jerry
the
mention this
God
the other
bring it
day that Envy was vehemently defending himself, and Charlemagne told him to listen to his lawyers and shut up.
I saw that clip, and Envy was on there like I need to address this. And
No,
Charlemagne's
sir,
like,
you don't.
I think you should listen to your lawyers. It's. So again, I think it's perfect that be the setting for a discussion with Marc Lamont Hill about Palestine and Israel. And I'm sure Mark had all the room in the world to make all the points necessary to that audience that need to be made. And I did see him in a couple clips having to push back against, these attempts to, Envy was saying at one point, is it, again, using that Israel response thing, and isn't it both sides? That whole kind of that and so I have to admit I'm impressed when I see Mark do his thing in those spaces, because I it is a skill. It's not just knowing the information. You have to be able to
get it out in a certain way that allows people to hear you. As you're battling back the like you said, even if it's from somebody who is probably as uninformed as a DJ Envy on the issue, but has the set talking points. Like you said, someone's put them in front of them. They've clipped some New York Times. They've got like 4 questions. They got 3 facts, and they sprout that out, and they only give you a certain amount of time to respond to it. But if you got to deal with the lights, the cameras, and all that kind of stuff, you got to get your own words together. So I agree with you. Like he's done, for the little that I've seen, he's done an excellent job in batting that back in those circumstances where, you can trip over yourself or not get out, to get caught up in something else or whatever. So, I think he's done a good job, not only in the journalism aspect of it, but also in the responding to the propaganda aspect for these mainstream audiences who otherwise, Mark has become such a celebrity in terms of in the news arena, right? So that they will put somebody like him on, and then thankfully, at the very least, he is somebody who has studied the issue, knows the issue, has even written a book about the issue, and
been there. He's been there himself, so
yeah.
he's seen,
But it's like, even in Black mainstream media spaces, I consider the Breakfast Club a mainstream media space. It's like you're not going to find nobody with pro-Palestinian politics. Like they don't let those kinds of folks sit in those chairs and have access to that size of an audience. Like if Marc Lamont Hill went on every major urban radio platform, he would be encountering the same shit that he got from Charlemagne and Envy, because you can't have certain politics. You cannot be anti-capitalist. You can't be, really pro-Black, pro-woman. You can't be these things and be on Black radio. Them things, they just don't go together. Sadly.
In fact, Mark got fired for being pro-Palestinian, like overtly. For not healing to the rhetoric or the stance that the station wanted them to take. Jackie got fired, not a mainstream, something that wasn't even not mainstream, something that's supposed to be left.
Right.
I mean, we'll discuss Putin another time, but something that's supposed to be left.
Would you keep Putin out of this?
You can't keep Putin out of this.
Putin had
you
actually can.
You can't keep Putin out of this.
Yes, you actually can. He is not
going to keep Putin out of it. It's his station.
To the radio talking about, fire them Negroes.
You don't think that happened? I'm sure.
That did not happen.
Sure. He was turning the dial.
Did not happen.
So talk about Putin. I like when Kim does the voice. Maybe Kim should do the voice.
Oh, Jacqueline, would you like me to call up my friend Sergei Lavrov? He is the foreign minister, Russia.
Well, like Daddy Lavrov, help
Daddy.
me.
Oh, I call him Poppy.
Do
But,
Kim, do Putin firing, hearing by any means necessary.
well, what is
firing
this? What is these Negroes on my radio station talking all this pro-black and pro-Palestinian nonsense? The bushka, the bushka, and the mishka, the mishka, the mishka. Don't fire them. Who was that? Jackie? Seen Blackmon? Get Seen Blackmon out of here. Now I'm going. Sorry. I went from black to Russian. I got Russian African real quick. My bad.
No. And it couldn't happen. Couldn't happen that way because there was no broadcast for anybody to hear, for anybody to object to. We hadn't even done the damn show.
Damn, Jackie, you got fired on your day off.
Yeah, but you even got it. They knew what was coming. They were like, not them, not right now.
No, we let me be careful. We had not. There was no broadcast for anyone to object to.
There wasn't even a broadcast that they could point to in which you had said pro-Palestinian
No.
stuff after.
Well, we have reported on every controversial issue the exact same way in the entire 7-year history of the show. And when there have been these media narratives that we knew were just bullshit lies, what we've always done was to present those narratives to our guests and say stuff like the New York Times has reported that, let's say, Russia has stolen 700,000 Ukrainian children, right? Remember that? That was actually an accusation. What is your response to that? And our guest would respond and say whether there was any validity to that or whether that was just bullshit propaganda. That's how we have approached every controversial issue that we have reported on. So yes, there were plenty of times that we reported on Palestine that people could say, I don't like that position. But here's the thing. We've reported on it the exact same way every time. But that day, there was no show for anybody to say, I don't like what you said.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to bring this article up because how even the elite kids are being basically threatened for having pro-Palestinian views. So a prestigious law firm rescinded job offers for Columbia and Harvard students. It claims it may reverse itself. David Polk said the potential hires were leaders of student groups that had issued statements condemning Israel. So this is a pro-Palestinian demonstration on Columbia University. And is even, I was looking for another article at Harvard where there, like some right-wing groups have rented a truck and basically doxed the student leaders and are riding around in a truck outside the walls of Harvard with the pictures of the students and claiming that they're anti-Semitic and so forth. So it says on Tuesday, the firm said it was reconsidering decision for 2 or 3 students who fought this dismissal and say they are not so students who walked it back, they said they might let them come back in. But the New York law firm said that 2 of the students held leadership roles in groups that signed a letter at Columbia, and that one was affiliated with the Harvard Palestine Solidarity Groups, which jointly wrote a letter that held the Israel regime responsible for the deadly violence. And here it said the views expressed in certain of the statements signed by law students organizations in recent days are in direct contravention of our firm's value systems, David Polk said in a statement. To ensure that we maintain a supportive and inclusive work environment, the firm added, the student leaders responsible for signing those statements are no longer welcome in our firm. So this is happening in elite settings for, again, not exclusively, but definitely involving the children or the kids who are in a position to be sort of the, if not the rulers themselves, but obviously the higher echelon of management for corporate and capitalist development and government. They're, again, everybody's now being put back into their box in terms of coming out and supporting Palestine. So Some people are ignored. Some people are fired. Some people are fired before they're hired. All of this is happening as this society tries to maintain its cover on the idea that the larger population and or significant parts of the population are behind Israel. And that's turning out not to be true, even though the overwhelming majority of the politicians and elected officials are clearly capping for Israel.
Yeah, and it's gone so far, and the media is absolutely complicit in this, obviously. But I think it was the New York Times that ran an op-ed from some major university professor who literally said, "Do not hire my students who are pro-Palestine."
Damn.
Yes, and the New York Times ran this, and it's like, how do you? It's one thing to fire journalists in your newsroom for for whatever reason you want to give, which is ridiculous. But it's another thing to run an op-ed calling for the blacklisting of students, and it's wild. But in all of this new round of censorship and repression, and I want to remind people that just a few months ago, a whole lot of folks on the so-called left were fine with leftists who were accurately pointing out what really led up to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, that Russia didn't respond it wasn't an unprovoked attack on Ukraine. When people were explaining the actual history that led up to the Ukraine conflict, and those people were deplatformed, they were silenced, folks were fired. Sputnik itself and other, Russia Today, CGTN, Press TV out of Iran were given that social media little label, the scarlet letter of state-sponsored media, in order to indicate to people that this is quote unquote foreign or enemy propaganda. A whole lot of folks on the left were fine with that because they hated Putin so much. That's, so it's been interesting to see people, and I wrote a piece in Black Agenda Report about this whole thing, that a few months ago, folks were either actively complicit in silencing anti-imperialist leftists who were calling out this history that led up to the Ukraine-Russia conflict accurately, and folks were fine with us being censored then because of folks' hatred for Putin. But now some of the same people are like, "Oh my God, the censorship." No, y'all can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. I'm over some of these folks right now with, as Reverend Hagler said, the selective outrage of the so-called independent progressive left, or whatever you want to call it. And somehow some of the same people are on social media sharing posts from, of all people, Jackson Hinkle, a fucking bigot, just because he happens to be right on Palestine.
So I wanted to put up the thing you were talking about, Jackie. This is on the Wall Street Journal, actually. We're not going to be able to see the articles. I definitely don't have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. But basically the comment, the lead is, "Don't hire my anti-Semitic law students.
Shit.
Would your clients want an attorney who condones hatred and monstrous crimes?" And this is by Stephen Davidsoff Solomon, is the author of, and so a little bit, "I teach corporate law at the University of Columbia, Berkeley, and an advisor to the Jewish Law Students Association. My students are largely engaged and well prepared, and I regularly recommend them to employees." But then it goes on to talk about, but if you want to hire people who advocate hate and practice, blah, 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 then it gets cut off. But basically the whole article is about that, about telling their student, telling actual employers, to not consider these people for jobs because of their, again, pro-Palestinian stance. And so again, people are being sort of whipped back into their boxes of like, your role here is to support the propaganda we tell you to support. Don't deviate from it. And if you don't deviate, you can make a good living and lots of money. If you choose to deviate, then we will punish you. And by punishing you, it'll flow down to other people who will also see that punishment. And some people will stand strong, and some people will do as I think the article suggested, or another article suggested in the Times that I just showed. Some people will then try to come back and say, oh, no. Like that's, and I almost hate that more. I understand it a little bit. People need to fend for themselves, but it's kind of more disgusting for me that if you put out a statement that is clear, that is precise, that it's talking about what it is you're opposed to, and the moment you get pushback, you start to retreat or try to retract. So it's I obviously understand people don't want to be in a position of losing jobs, but it hurts the cause more if you don't understand that. Yes, if you can't be punished for being pro-Palestinian, just like you'll be punished for being pro-Black, but none of that is worse than what the actual people are suffering on the ground in Palestine or in Black communities or wherever. You being a good ally or in solidarity, you may suffer some pushback, but again, it is not the same as the people who are actually dying in mass or having their land stolen in mass because of the actions of folks like the Zionist nation of Israel and the U.S. government.
I mean, this is scarily reminiscent of McCarthyism, right? Like people who were communists and who were socialists and supported, those ideologies were blacklisted across industries. I'm thinking of, obviously Harry Belafonte. I don't know if Lena Horne was actually a communist, but I think she was blacklisted nonetheless. And so many others, what I'm saying, Black and white folks were maligned in this way. I mean, this sounds like the start of that all over again. Maybe not coming directly from Congress or like a sitting senator, but I'm sure that's next, right? Like we just haven't gotten to that part of this latest chapter of people being blacklisted and having their livelihoods potentially stolen because of their politics.
Yeah, I mean, it is very, I don't know. I think for me, being in a revolutionary organization that is firmly and unapologetically rooted in the Black radical tradition, that understands the kind of Red Scare moment that we've never not been in. Right? It's like people don't understand that oppressed people who connect their struggles with the struggles of Black people in particular have always been under this attack that isn't quite, it's a different kind of thing from McCarthyism. There is this Red Scare kind of aspect that if you are aligning yourself with oppressed people, particularly certain oppressed people, then it's not that you really are a communist. It's that the accusation that you are a communist and the enemy of America is used against you, not because you actually are that, but just because that's the most effective way to curry the sentiment of the American population against you, right? So that's the easiest way to silence you. So it is interesting to see people on the so-called left who fall so easily into this, where they could just as easily align with and share information from principled anti-imperialist organizations, but instead they will align themselves with safe kind of right-leaning, liberalish kind of sources if they have one correct line on one correct issue. And that's because these people are not in solidarity with actual oppressed people. And it is really hard for folks to see that. It is really hard for folks to get out of that mentality that just because somebody says one right thing about Palestine, it doesn't mean that they are people that you should be aligning yourself with, because you really need to be asking yourself, what have they said about other oppressed people and their struggles? which are the exact same struggles as the people in Palestine. They can have a right line on Palestine, but if they're supporting the cops, if they're supporting Cop City, if they don't support reproductive justice, if they don't support equal rights for queer and trans people, if they don't support anti-capitalism, if they don't support anti-imperialism, they're not friends of the Palestinian people. These struggles are connected. We cannot separate one line out from the entire struggle. If they, what do they say about Haiti? What do they say? What do they say about Peru? And if we're not asking these questions of these people, then all we're doing is perpetuating this Red Scare mentality of picking off people within justice and liberation movements who really are working in service for the liberation of all people, because that's what the system doesn't want. So it's easy for them to, prop up these folks with one correct line, because they're not really invested in the liberation for all people. They're just really invested in growing their platforms. So that's my rant for today. And look at that. I didn't cuss not one time. I'm so proud of me.
Just earlier, a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, scorekeeper. Thank you. Just busted my little bubble. Oh.
Bringing up old stuff.
The ear doctor abandoned us, or
yeah. So FYI, heads up, ear doctor is gone, and for the day, and maybe for the week. We don't have him at all next week either. So
what?
He's supposed
Who
to
approved
supply
that?
No one.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not one
Did
single
not
person.
get approval. Did not submit a leave slip.
No.
No. This is.
We're gonna have to have a meeting. We're gonna have to have a meeting with ear doctor.
He has gone UA.
This
unauthorized absence.
It's unexcused time off, sir. What? You going where?
So
you do what?
He's supposed to supply us with some
DJ
transition
Envy
clips.
needed the job soon.
Oh shit. Ear doctor couldn't be on the Breakfast Club because he ain't scam minded. You know what I'm saying?
Kamau saying Envy's gonna get fired and come here and replace the ear
He's
doctor.
coming here.
We're gonna upgrade.
Yeah.
I quit.
One light-skinned dude for another. This one got here, that one don't.
And then we're gonna
views
bring
are probably very similar, to be honest.
right, and all we need is
Oh,
then DJ Ebro, and we have the whole beige light skin commercial hip hop.
I'm a barf.
You know, yeah, and maybe he'll bring back Smackfest.
Where are the sisters on these platforms, man? It's like
So
I
got so
I
shout
can
out
name
to
you all the men. I can name you all the men's host of these morning shows. Where the sister in?
In fact, what happened to what's her name? The Latina one. Did she leave? She left,
Angie
right?
Martinez.
Yeah. Wasn't she on the Breakfast Club too? Is that
No,
the
you
one?
thinking of a other light skin. See, there you getting your light skins confused. You talk about Angela Yee, the other
Angela
light
Yee,
skinned
the
Angela.
other light-skinned Latina,
Because there's at least 5 light skinned Angelas out here in the circulation, in
I
rotation.
do not know who any of these people are.
Girl,
and
you ain't missing
I
nothing.
don't care.
You ain't missing nothing. Girl,
Jackie
listen, Jackie face when you say Angela Yee is my face when you say Jackson Hinkle. Who the fuck is that? Who? Andrew Jackson Hinkle.
Like, huh?
Hinkleson. Who is
David
who?
Hinkle?
Hinkley.
What did he
what?
shoot again?
Right. Didn't he shoot Reagan? I do not know these numbers.
I'm embarrassed that I do know who he is, and Kim's analysis of Jackson Hinkle is right. In
Pretty much.
not knowing who he is, your analysis of him is exactly right. So
Not entirely
congratulations.
wrong.
I have concerns about your YouTube addiction, sir. I feel like you are too deep in these YouTube streets, to be honest.
No, this is
Like,
an old holdover. This is a holdover from a previous rabbit hole associated with Jimmy Dore, and he used to pop up in the algorithm as someone trying to ride in Dore's wake. And apparently it's been successful because I haven't watched any of them in a while, and yet the name keeps popping up. So but I'm just saying I know who he is, and that's bad enough. I don't know, I don't follow their work or anything, but the fact that I know who he is a fail.
But I feel like if I asked you what did JT the Pocket Watcher talk about this week, I feel like you would know.
Look, he looked. He's like,
Look
wait a
at
minute.
him.
Yeah, no.
I know.
I might. because I've even fallen out of favor. I'm in a whole different space now. My algorithm is a lot of it's actually a lot of science and religious debates and a lot of that's pretty much my algorithm right now. So I have to go and find stuff to read to that is appropriate for my actual politics, because the algorithm has been totally destroyed. So that's but you're right. I mean, JT, I think he did something on Envy. If I saw at least the thumbnail, he did a thing on Envy this week.
Who was the other one? The one that is in the beef with Envy behind
Tony the
all
Closer.
This? Okay, so there's like dueling defamation lawsuits pending, right?
Who's Tony the Closer?
Right, ask Jared.
So-
He know.
I do, and if I'm not mistaken, he's based in Miami now, or always. And he, again, as the name suggests, is a brother on the hood come up on real estate flipping. Now, apparently, he's been on the more honest side of it, and part of what his newest claim to fame is that he's helped expose Envy as part of the fraud. So the problem that I have with Closer and JT is that they just want good, clean capitalism and exploitation. So they just if they just want black scammers to stop scamming black people, so the regular routine of capitalism can scam on its own unfettered. But then you see them in some of these, like Tony was one of the ones I saw in a beef with someone he had engaged in flipping houses with. And then the YouTube of it becomes just like any other beef. You see them in cars talking violent gangbanger talk to one another, all in the context of you owe me for flipping this out. But then on the next video, they want to come back and have you come to them for advice and for sign. They try to get professional in the wife beater tees and all this other stuff. They're like, and the chains. What do you mean?
As a platform, we need somebody to get into a big beef.
Well, Renee called out RBN Saturday pretty heavily. So I was wondering if we should follow up maybe through some thumbnails and start the beef there. I don't know if that was one because she called them out and dragged them for dragging her. And
they dragged her?
Oh man, apparently, oh boy. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That was my whole thing. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but they were calling her all out her name and cussing at her.
What?
And yeah, the main dude
ugly.
over there.
Are you talking about Nick? The brother we've had over here?
Nick, yep, absolutely.
Calling Renee out her name?
I saw the tweets. Called her an op and called her this and that. Oh yeah. Oh,
whoa. What's the
was this in the context of that rally, or was this something else?
I think it's I have to get Renee. Maybe she's in the chat. She's probably at work. Is she in the chat? Maybe if she can come on, she can break it down for us. But I think it also has to do with her stances on these elections and the Green Party and where people are. And then, as I'm aware, it's the shortcomings of RBN and other platforms is anything left of the Democrats starts to become a problem. But I don't want to speak on her behalf, and I'm not entirely clear on the I don't really follow them too much. But she went in, and so that was so when you ask, what beef do we want to
get? Look, it's already created.
And they've gone at Jackie a little bit too. So I mean, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't they go at you around the rally? And so
yes.
Yes,
they did. Yeah, they did.
I've been on a couple of times. They're always nice to me. I didn't know
Why
that.
y'all think I don't fuck with them people? See what you did. See, you made me say a cuss word. See what you did.
It's like your fifth one. It's like, I mean, you've outcussed Kim today, which is, it's so hard to do. But
I think I even out N-worded Kim today. If I think about it, I think
just been so angry
Kim
lately.
Kim, you sleeping?
Why do you all think I don't do appearances on other people's shows because of the way people have been mad disrespectful when I accurately pointed out the problem with the political party that organized that rally. They lied and said things that I did not say. They accused me of saying things about people that I didn't say things about. And they got all in their feelings and disrespect without actually talking to me now. A lot of these people said things about me and about the article I wrote that were not true, proving that they didn't actually read the article. And then they made these comments without actually talking to me. Nobody from RBN reached out to me and asked me to come on their show and explain what I said and why I said it, just like Max Blumenthal didn't, just like Jimmy Dore didn't, just like none of these people reached out to me and said, hey, you wrote this article. Why did you say what you said? Explain yourself. No, they all went to town talking about me, lying, and creating this controversy on a bunch of lies. So, no.
I just got to say again, Jackie, and they called me that Max said I was his friend in his attack on you. That was the most trifling thing I've personally experienced. That was pretty whack.
This dude goes on Jimmy Dore's show and talking about my friend Jared like you and I are not actual friends.
But I didn't know that it was the RBN cats in with that. I thought it was just the whites. I thought it was just Matt and Jimmy.
Because they went to the rally.
RBN
Their
has a
argument
particular
was
connection to Dore and the so-called white lefties. Like I actually think they platformed them.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
There's definitely some basis in that, but I thought that when it came to Jackie's situation specifically, I thought it was just the whites barking. I didn't know it was RBN, the blacks barking too. The fuck.
So to be perfectly fair, when I used to watch Dore's show, that was the first time I actually saw Nick or ever heard of Nick, was when he popped up on Dore's show. And I will admit this, the one time I did DM Dore, I just said, look, I don't, we don't know each other. I just watch your show. I just wanted to let you know that there are other black left voices. That was the way I phrased. Like, I wasn't trying to pit myself or us against Nick or anything like that. I was just trying to say, like, if you want, because there was some reference to him wanting to have Nick on to get black left voices. And then when I saw the interview and it was just very lacking, that's what I remember. I was just like, it's lacking. So I was just like, politely, Jimmy, hey, if you want real black left voices, they do exist. And then I think I listed a few, because I was like, I don't want to do it, but there are, and I never got a response.
And they were the Fred Hampton leftists, right?
That's when they were Fred Hampton leftists, and that's what first piqued my interest, because I saw them, Nick from Fred Hampton leftists, on Jimmy Dore, and then I didn't hear a lot of the Fred Hampton in the analysis, so I was like. I just was trying to be, again, I was, not trying to, and I see the jokes in the chat. Like, I am not encouraging the beef. I am just responding and to my comrades' questions and.
I would just have some issue with the optics. I don't think we should beef with them specifically. You know what I'm saying? I think there are points of contention. Fix your face. Fix your face, Franklin. Fix your face, Franklin.
I just don't get. I don't have a good beef no more. So I need some. I feel like I'm lacking. I feel like everybody else gets some beef. I'm like, the Stop Cop City thing is made people like me, temporarily like me and shit. So I haven't gotten like good beef for a while. You know what I mean?
But I want to make this clear though, because people think that this is a new thing. It's not. It is not. This issue with these white leftists and some of the black adjacent progressive-ish online commentators, this actually goes all the way back to, what was it, 2016, 17, when this was after the 2016 election, I think, and there was and some of y'all have been around and y'all remember this, but there was a conference, United United National Anti-War Coalition, UNAC conference in Richmond, where Ajamu Baraka, let me try to pronounce his name right, finally, was asked to hold a workshop for Black folks on anti-war issues. in the Black community. He was asked to do this by the UNAC organizers, because UNAC is an organization that is, honestly, it's full of older white anti-war veterans, right? And they have been struggling to get new members in. Don't have a lot of Black members. They have been talking about it, how do we expand our membership? So they're like, all right, so let's get Ajamu Baraka to hold a couple of workshops on anti-war issues in the Black community. And he did, because at the time Ajamu was, I think, on the board, or he was in the leadership of UNAC. So two of the people who emerged out of the Bernie Sanders online commentator class were at the conference. And I knew these people. They were two white women. They created this controversy where they called Ajamu a racist because the workshop was for Black people, and that they claimed that no white people were invited. They couldn't go, which was a lie. They claimed that white people were not allowed in, which was a lie, because one of the white women was sitting right up in the room asking questions. And they made a big deal about it at the conference. And I attended 2 days of the conference. And this was when they got up at this conference and they said that if you want to increase your membership, then you're going to have to stop othering right-wing voices, because I can bring in my 10,000 supporters from my channel, many of whom are from the political right. So they created this entire controversy among this progressive online punditry class based on this idea that Ajamu Baraka was a racist because he facilitated this workshop for people of African descent, claiming that they didn't let white people into the workshop. Video was produced that proved that was a lie, because the white woman was sitting right there asking questions of Ajamu. And what happened with the punditry class, the Jimmy Dores, the Tim Blacks, the folks like that, was they took sides. These people did not reach out to Ajamu. They didn't reach out to me. And I worked with these people. This is why I don't talk to them. I don't deal with them to this day. They didn't reach out to the people who were accused. They all had those two racist ass white women on their shows.
Yeah, my first response would have been like, and so what? So what if I would not have shown them the picture of the white woman. I'd been like, yeah, it was an all Black thing. What?
And they never reached out to the Black folks who were accused of being racist. They all had the white women who created the lie on their shows. And that's when a lot of these so-called progressive commentators started, even the Black ones, started hitching their wagon to this "it's class not race," a red-brown alliance. We can unite with some people on the right wing if we want to get Medicare for all. That's where this shit came from back in 2016, 2017. That's where this all came from. So that is why I have not dealt with these people who, again, when Abdus and I were working with Real Progressives, Steve Grumbine's junk, once we broke with him and his bigoted sexist ass, once we broke with him and we saw what these people did in regard to these two white women, Claudia Stauber and Debbie Luzignan were the two women. Everybody took their side. We were like, nope, screw all them people. So this situation that we see with these folks latching on to this Rage Against the War Machine rally and validating these right-wing voices, this isn't new. This is a holdover from that garbage. from then that nobody really addressed, because in all that time, none of these people reached out to us. So
what about the Young
there's
Turks?
that.
Can we beef with them?
I think they weighed in on it, I think, to a degree too. I mean, everybody on the progressive so-called online left, most of the bigger platforms that exist now were either just getting started then or they were pretty big then. They all took the side of these two racist ass white women. Almost every single one of them. That's why I have not rocked with them since then. And we talked about this. There were Anoa Changa in Atlanta. She and I and some other Black folks also went toe to toe with folks like Caitlin Johnstone, who dismissed the rally before the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where the racist marched through the campus of the University of Virginia like the Nazis with the torches. Caitlin Johnstone comes out and says, why are we all making a big deal out of this? Why don't you just ignore these clowns with tiki torches? This is why we can't pay attention to race. This isn't a race issue. We can just ignore these clowns. And Anoa and myself and some other folks were like, these people are dangerous. How could you say that? And Caitlin's response, with the people trying to correct her on her incorrect analysis of that situation, was that you all are being violent toward me. This is what she said to Anoa and Black folks and other folks who were telling her online, you're wrong about this. We cannot dismiss racism that these people are exhibiting in this torch lit march like the damn Nazis. And what happened a couple of days later? We see what happened. So this is why I don't rock with these white or white adjacent or Black online progressives with big white audiences, because I remember what they did back in 2016 and 17. That's where this garbage comes from. So
chat, we would like to hear from you all. Weigh in. Who should we start beefing with? Name names, platforms, drop their YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So there's a strong support for beef with the Turks. There's also strong support that I not participate because I will get washed in all debates. So we'll rely heavily
Washed
on.
by who? What's the nigga's name?
It was said at one
Turk
point,
nigga.
Jackson Hinkle. Somebody said Jackson Hinkle and RBN would wear me out.
What?
So that's fine. It doesn't have to be me. We can.
But you don't believe
I
that
can't
yourself, though. You don't even believe that.
You know, in all
believe
honesty,
that, Jared.
in all honesty, I'm not, again, because public debate, particularly on YouTube, is not about accuracy. It's about scoring and winning. And I do struggle in those spaces. I have to, so I'm not totally,
You'll do
I don't
fine.
totally disagree that, because people, it's not just being right. It's being able to artfully make your point in that moment, given that context and audience. And I don't always
You can always
thrive this.
just say- yeah, but every now and then you can just go fuck you. You know
But
what I
here's
mean?
the thing. But
But
Kamau,
that's seen as a
this is
loss.
where you-
Whenever I've done that, they tell me I lose. That looks
Oh, but
bad. But
that's
I'm
not
like, turn the
listening to
table over.
people.
Let's step outside. They're like, no, Jared, no, that's wrong.
No, you and Kamau need to be sparring offline. Kamau, you need to go to Kamau Franklin's media training
Yes.
camp, okay?
Yes.
Because Kamau will get your ass together on them talking points, okay?
Hey, just to
Brooklyn
tie it
boot
back to
camp
where
on
Jackie,
talking points.
to tie it back to something Jackie mentioned earlier with Reverend Hagler, it was years ago in the basement of that same church that the late, I guess, what is it? What would the right word be? The I don't want to use mentee. The Jegna of Hagler, Damu Smith, attempted to give us training in Black Alliance for Peace on media training. And I would have needed to stick with it, and we would even do the thing of here is that version of BAP's stance on Israel, Palestine. Can you say it in 3 minutes? Can you say it in 1 minute? Can you say it in 5 seconds? Like we would do stuff like that in Plymouth Congregational Church. So it's a skill that either you're born with or you need to develop. So I'm not mad at Kim's suggestion.
Yeah, I was
we
going
should
to
have
say.
a Kamau training Kamau school of.
I mean, just like you used to go to the gym, right? Like, I mean, it's about training, right? It's about repetition. You know, you used to be in shape, nigga. You can get in media training shape again.
Let's keep them past tenses. Used, once was.
No, Kamau, I think that would be valuable. Maybe that could be a Patreon thing. I'd come.
I'm not kidding. That's good. That's legit. I think that's legit, Kamau. I think you should think about organizing that together. Yeah, man. I'm not kidding because I think
as soon as we we got to pick somebody though.
Pick somebody. Okay. Oh, to beef with.
The beef with. I mean, it could be. I mean, we threw out some names, and then starting like next week Tuesday, we'll have a whole thing like to call them out.
I did, y'all go ahead with that. Help yourself.
You in the crew. You can't separate yourself from the crew, Jackie.
Jackie.
When I throw a rock, you better throw a rock. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I would tell you like this.
I'm throwing rocks for you, girl.
Right,
I know you do.
We beefing on your behalf. We beefing on your behalf, Jackie. You gotta be in this.
What did Ben Affleck tell old boy in Good Will Hunting? If you don't get out this car when I'm finished with them, you next.
Here's the thing. That experience with the online left and the way so-called allies turn on you is one of the things that pushed me into serious organizing, because I realized that all these people are doing is sitting online in front of their computer talking and creating beef. That's all they were doing. That is all they were profiting. They were literally profiting off of creating beef with people. But they weren't.
That's the whole. That's the whole. You know, that's. I mean, what am I trying to say? That's the whole point of the whole thing is to do that, to bring up the numbers, to have them respond, to have you like, you know, whether or not they work it out beforehand, or folks just understand. It's like it's a fake boxing match in that respect, right?
Right.
Ain't nobody really getting hurt. But if I can beef with you and you can beef with me for a while, it's like wrestling. I mean, that's what they treat. That's why most of those cats, I don't believe anything about that politics. Right? I don't believe anything about most of the politics.
My counterpart in black comedy, Pierre, on his platform, did that. They did an experiment last year, I think, where he and somebody worked out a pre-arranged fake beef just to make a point. And they got numbers. And then they came back later and said, see, this is what we, I wouldn't agree with the method or the politics per se, but they did say that, see, this is why we did this, to prove to you that this is what you want and this is what will happen and this is da-da-da-da-da. And I did it. I admit, I thought of pitching that in a BPM meeting. You know, what if we concocted a little theater to and almost like in the 5 heartbeats, you take existing tensions and turn them into positives. So like when the brothers were fighting on stage, they turned it into a routine and made it part of the show. And I was like, we have a few existing tensions I thought we might be able to have a little fun with. But anyway.
Oh yeah, we can beef internally online. We can do that too.
Take our internal beefs on, take our real internal beefs online.
Take a mad public.
In case anybody was wondering if any of the beefs that have been viewed here on BPM have been real or conceptualized, no, it's all been legit.
Oh yeah.
It's
all legit. When it happens on.
I don't know if the audience could take that though. I wonder if the audience.
I think the audience knows, and we're like annoyed with each other, or there's like.
I mean, it's not like y'all
background
can
stuff happening, and it's like, what's going on?
That's
yeah,
why
y'all are not good with the fake. Y'all ain't good with the fake beef.
That's
Everybody
why I
knows
like
it's real beef.
He said that's why you like it.
It's real, shorty. We ain't no fake for what. That's why I like y'all, because y'all will beef. Each and every single one of y'all, and those not with us today, will beef. Here
Thank you, Kim.
In the streets.
Don't let those off camera get away like they innocent.
Oh hell no, Kalanji Changa,
Ear Doctor, all of them,
will beef.
Erica, don't think their broken sisters is innocent. Don't think they innocent.
Oh, they not. Erica told Afra to fight the girl in the bar.
You know what I'm saying?
She was like, "Why don't you just fight?"
That's what she said.
Because that's a very Southern girl thing. Like, this is
Just get it done.
I said,
All
go
this
ahead
back
and
and
fight,
forth.
because this is just wasting too much time. No, but
Sundiata acting all elderly and scholarly on here. Stop faking.
no, but look, in all seriousness, my thing with the online beefs that I know that these people just generate for clicks and likes is their viewers internalize this shit as real politics, and they're not doing anything but perpetuating the beefs where they could be organizing with actual anti-imperialists and anti-capitalists to address the issues that they say they're concerned about, but all they doing is sitting online bigging up a bunch of beefs and then going after people who these folks create beefs about, but they don't actually want to do any organizing. So that these people in these manufactured online beefs, people are always asking, how do we organize people? How do we create a mass of working class people to get this revolution? You know why we can't? A lot of the time, a pretty good percentage of the reason we can't is because a lot of people spend a whole lot of time in front of this computer listening to and believing these online beefs from these people, and that is all they're doing. They're not organizing because they are taking the cues from these people saying these Black, indigenous, queer folks on the left who really are organizing and doing the work, they're the enemy. They're your enemy. So we don't rock with them. We're going to deal with the folks on the right. And never mind that the folks on the right want to kill those other folks. But we have more in common with these folks on the right than we do with these people actually doing the work on the left. That's the problem I have with these people and this online beef industrial complex bullshit.
Yeah, anytime I hear them talk about how they're going to organize the Trump voters, it's like, y'all done lost your fucking mind. And again, I believe in white folks organizing, working class white folks, but it's like, you got to deal with the race. You can't hide that. You can't put that off to the side and act like, oh, we're just not going to talk about that. It's like, how you not going to talk about that? That's the central reason why I won't fuck with them and or you at this point, because it's like you're going to hide that. You're going to hide the huge thing that attracts them to Trump-like figures, and then suggest that they're going like, oh, but I'm going to get them to come around on the class issue. Why? Like, I don't believe that at all. Yeah.
I know. Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think we need two groups to beef with. We need to select some Black bougies to beef with. My vote is for the Breakfast Club. And I think we need some white people to beef with as well.
We've been trying. EYL has been trying to pick the beef with the Breakfast Club and them, and I've seen Geechee has shown me the text from Charlemagne saying I'm not fucking with Jared. So we got to find another. Yeah, we got to find another. We got to find another lane.
He's not going to give you any light to sort of lift you up, kind of thing. He's just going to ignore.
It was basically a text exchange around the buying power argument, and it was in so many words. It's just not happening.
Like, I'm not going to have him on the show. Not even.
I think the text actually said I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not going to. I think it even said something. I have to check with Geechee to get my memory straight, but it was something like it even said something like, I'm not having them on. We're not doing that. We're not.
Oh well, I didn't expect that. I mean, that's not how I view the beef. The beef,
right?
Is...
No. I'm just saying we've been trying to draw them out, is what I've been saying. Like, so try. I went on 19 Keys, even responded to me on Instagram, and then stopped. So like, I can't. We need
can be one-sided. You understand? Like, we can beef, and no, they don't have to have beef with us, but we can beef with them. You know what I'm saying?
But somebody vote on Roland Martin. Now, Roland Martin will respond. In fact, Roland Martin will start beef. As short as this dude is, this dude, he likes to come down.
Low center of gravity come out. You gotta be careful with them, man. You gotta be careful with them types. Roland might get you flipped over and then fly dashikis he be wearing too. You better be careful with Roland.
Like, what?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we could be
smack you with his ass as. So no, I
His
like
ass
that though.
got-
We need two fronts. We need two fronts, and I think, and now that I did not think of it that way. If we don't have to have them participate, now it opens up a whole new. Okay,
This beef
Kim.
can be one-sided. You know what I'm saying? They can come back on YouTube in 6 months and see, you know, a whole playlist of beef videos. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not they acknowledge us is inconsequential, nigga. We talking to you. We talking to you about you. Now, whether or not you talk and respond to us, that's another story. I that ain't my concern.
What would George Jackson do? Not be in YouTube comments?
Yeah.
That George
Don't
Jackson
be on
would not
YouTube
be
at all.
beefing.
George would
Start
not be
there,
on
goddess.
YouTube. George would not be on YouTube.
No.
George would be making visits for it.
He would be in Alphabet's offices, maybe.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't be on YouTube.
Organizing.
Yeah, they would be that's a different kind of way to solve beef. As we slyly mentioned, like if you think about who George is, what George had to do to be the leader in prison and to create the organization he created, y'all don't even want to think about it. Y'all don't want to think about it. You don't want to think about it. Yeah, you don't want that beef. Nobody wants that beef. Nobody wants that beef.
No smoke.
That's real beef.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get out of here, if I could just real quick end on something slightly different from beef. I would like to quickly shout out a couple folks in our sphere here, the African Psychological Student Association at Bowie State. We had a great discussion and build session last night. Big shout out to Dr. Otis Williams, Dr. Mark Bolden, and that whole crew and their grad students. It was fantastic. And I borrowed something that I heard from our brother Netfa Freeman in his most recent Voices with Vision discussion with Orasami Burton that I meant to bring to. They talked about, we've often heard about the carrot or the stick in terms of options of coercion. They ended up having a conversation I would encourage people to go check out about when the carrot becomes the stick. And that became for me a point of departure for some discussion last night that was very fruitful. So not and or, but when the carrot becomes the stick, I think it's a perfect way of dealing with a lot of the current moment's confusion. So shout out to all of them, and thanks again to all the remixers for coming through this morning. We will note that Ear Doctor owes us.
You know who we should have beef with real quick?
Who?
Jordan Jones. Jordan is texting me about how he can get to his super chat.
That's
Jordan?
what I was going to suggest.
Our Jordan.
I was going to suggest that we go through the super chats before we depart. This is usually Ear Doctor's job, and please read them aloud.
Jordan Jones is asking, what are the host's thoughts on the call for a general strike on Friday, withholding our labor that gets taxed to and sent to Israel IDF?
General strikes are not working right now in the U.S. And you gotta actually organize those things. You can't just call for it and be like, "Oh, let's strike," and then people ain't strike. To me, the last success, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Like successful non-labor strike, non-labor is in actually to do with labor, was the Montgomery bus boycott, and I can't think of something else that was that sustained, hugely impactful for its time, that got the masses of people who not even, not necessarily even those who took the bus, but those who, all around the whole city
to produce an alternative system too. Yeah.
So that kind of thing, we have not we've all talked about duplicating it, but you can't just call for it and even have some famous person call for it or some well-known person. I think Boots Riley constantly is calling for a strike. He's busy making movies now. See, I was trying to start some beef there with like Boots, whatever.
Don't do that, because Boots is right, and in his movies they're calling for a general strike. So he's doing the work in the film. So I'm not mad at. Don't. I can't beef with Boots. I'll be on the other team on that one. I'm with Boots on that one. But to your point, I think a general strike. I think you're right. At this point, it would just result in it being a day off for a handful of us. That's really all it would end up being. It wouldn't really be, I think it does, but as a standard for a call, I think it's great. I would love for, but that's and Jordan has another one, by the way. What are y'all thoughts on the call? Oh, he did it twice, two super chats
just to get
that question. Thank you very much.
See, our boss has left us for the day, so this is something.
So we just wilding out.
Right.
Which
These
is what
are
happened.
ear doctor duties that go ignored, unfortunately, when he's not here. Is that all the super chats?
No, Matt Miller is asking a very easy one. What is your solution to eliminating racism in the colonial structure that's dominating the planet?
Kill your masters. Kill your masters. That's the solution.
Organize a revolutionary counterforce that's armed, that's ready to go move.
And the idea is not to eliminate racism. You can't eliminate what people think about you, but what you can do is change the dynamic in the system, change the system that gives institutions and the powerful the power and the ability to literally institutionalize that white supremacist racist thought in every aspect of your life. You're not going to change the fact that people hate you, but I can certainly change the fact that people use the system against people because they hate us. That's eliminating racism. That ain't on the menu. You feel how you feel.
And what Kim said.
And what Kim said.
And then ZZ is asking, shout out to ZZ Lion, Kamau, I don't have beef for you, but you can run me some cloth. I'm waiting on my BPM t-shirt, black extra large. I was told you holding the tees bag. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Pause.
Nah.
Just playing.
Kalonji,
Brooklyn
son.
beef was beef.
Your beef was with Kalonji. He set that up. If you ain't get your,
Wow.
if you gave that money and you ain't get your t-shirt, there might be a skinny dude in Atlanta running around with an extra large on right now. I don't know.
Can y'all direct Brother ZZ Line to an email address? Like who should he
No,
reach out to?
Kamal's just throwing Kalonji just randomly under the bus. Just go find Kalonji. Run up on Kalonji. ZZ's
Do
in
we have a
Atlanta.
department?
Go
Do we have
find
a
him.
department to handle complaints or that we pay
So
attention?
you know what? This is a perfect. In addition to reminding, I don't know if it was covered yesterday. I missed the second half of the show, but the in addition to just saying a rest in power to Rochelle McGee, whose passing is being lost in all the other news of the day, and who's being languished in prison all these years, needs to still be addressed, and people still need to be checked for that. But I will just remind, to Kamal's most recent point, that we are still hiring for a senior director of operations here at Black Power Media. Please get your application in. There's some money behind it, and you can help us get a little more organized so that ZZ and others get their shirts, and we get our beefs in order and all of that. So. All jokes aside, I think, it is, we do need a little help with fielding some of these requests and orders and so on. So, but don't mess with ZZ Line. He is in Atlanta. So Kamal Kalonji, he might be,
They might team up on me.
Might be in person.
Just might.
Asking you directly, where's my shirt at? So.
And at least one of them been waiting to approach you anyway. Been waiting to see you out here anyway.
Hey, speaking of organizing, Dr. Ball, what are we doing this Saturday?
Oh, Saturday is at, first of all, I get to go to Jackie's house, right? It's at your house, right? So I get to go to Jackie's house, and I get some non, how should I say this? I get some world majority food, right? We're gonna have some food there, right? Isn't there gonna be some food?
Yes,
some spice filled, tasty.
Plenty of spices and
Look at Kamal getting jealous.
What?
Me, Jackie, a bottle of wine and some candles, and no Kamal.
Damn.
You got replaced. Didn't you hear this the other day? You got replaced. Showing up late, not showing up at all, disappearing. Jackie said,
I need
next man up.
consistency in my life.
So no, but in all seriousness, BAP is hosting a book discussion around my work, which is always an honor. And this crowd and Evan sent me the run sheet, and it's thorough. So I'm gonna go take a couple naps, rest up, get my notes together. Stretch, definitely. Thank you. Stretch and get ready. So I appreciate that. I look forward to that. I'm actually very excited about that. So Saturday afternoon is that, and then a shout out to Baba Oduno for those in the DC area. There is no culture without agriculture. Was his call. Brother is in hospice, and I'm gonna come go see him, and hopefully he'll recover and be back in the streets, and he's gonna come back the other way. So shout out to Baba Oduno, and yeah. Anyway, so a lot of good things happening. You know,
It's
struggles,
10:06.
some good things. It's
He had over
10:06.
530 at one point.
Nice.
It might have been a record. I think it might have been a record. I
Coincidence
see
that
the
your doctor's
money
not
to
here?
correspond, so we'll get to that next week again. So,
Kamau.
yes, ma'am.
Well, I guess you're right, because this is the week of the 15th. So y'all, everybody's bills should have been hopefully were paid, taken care of by now. So
That's
you
right.
have
It's our
anything
turn
left
now.
over for that 15th check. You know, that 15th check just hit this week, everybody. So, you know, but break the channel off with a couple coins if it's not too much trouble.
Yes, right on. All right, good people. Thank you very much. Peace if you're willing to fight for it, as Fred Hampton used to say. We'll catch you next time here at the Remix Morning Show and throughout the platform, EYL tomorrow morning, all kinds of stuff. Make sure you got the bell rung, all the other good things. I'm trying to talk until I find the thing. And then there we go. So peace, everybody. Thanks.